Hey kids, welcome back. So today I want to talk about how much information should you share with a tarot reader during a reading, right? I think this is a question that some people have, so I wanted to talk about it. If you are watching this and you are a tarot reader today, I think this video will be helpful for you as well, because we get different types of clients in readings and sometimes we're not sure what to do with people. And maybe you just pick up a tip or something that's helpful for you moving forward. So let's talk about the two different types of people that we kind of get in tarot readings, or two different things that happen in this particular scenario. The first one is we get kind of the silent type, where the person doesn't say anything, give you any information. Sometimes you're lucky if you get their name. And then you get another client, and this particular person will, they'll give you a little bit of information as to what's going on. They'll tell you kind of who the people are that are involved in the situation they want to discuss, and they'll give you a little bit of information about what's going on. And so these are the two kind of, I guess these are the two options that you see most often. There's some other ones, but these are the main two that you'll kind of be dealing with. So here's what I'll tell you about kind of like the pros and cons of which one to choose when you're going in. So and also too, I want to talk a little bit about what's happening and why these things are happening too, and maybe that'll help you make some sense of what you're seeing, or what tactic you want to take when you go in. So the first one, let's talk about kind of the strong silent type, when someone will come in and they won't say anything to you in a reading. Now, sometimes some of these people are receptive and sometimes they're not. Sometimes the first kind of group, the non-receptive, you get the hands crossed like this over the chest, right? Just kind of giving you the what for stare, right? And that's one type. Those people are usually a little bit more resistant, might feel like they need you to prove to them that you can do what you can do. Skeptical, whatever, or, just want to see what you can do and like, yeah, impress me, right? You get those people. Then you get in the kind of the strong silent type, you get the people who come in, they are more reserved. You can definitely tell they have a wall up, but they are open to the reading, right? Which I think is kind of the better way to go. If you're really resistant in a reading, what I will say kind of the negative aspect of this is that you might be missing information because you have such a hard mindset of like, this person doesn't know anything, blah, blah, blah. Or you are closing your energy off to me. And I read off of that too, it's a flow. And so if you are locking down, it's harder for me to give you all of the information that Spirit wants to share that you might actually need. So please keep that part in mind. Now, the other part, we get the strong silent type that are more reserved but are open. I think this is an okay place to be. And the reason for this is because sometimes people just really want a pure, organic, authentic reading, and they don't want it tainted by anything that they're going to say to you. I feel like that's fair. That's okay. I'm okay with that. I've done lots of these readings. I'm not offended. And what they're doing is they want to see what comes up without, spoiling it by something they might say or trying to lead you down a certain path. And the other part is that they really want to take the information that you give them and kind of process it on their own. They want to apply it to their life on their own, and they want to be really introspective about it. And that's how they want to do it, right? And so if that's something that interests you and you think that you can do that, then that's definitely a way you can go. Now, the other part that I want to talk about is the people who are more receptive, that will share a little bit of information, brief summary for you, and kind of why this is good and why this, might be difficult in some areas. So the thing that I would say for me, that is helpful and will be helpful to you if you decide to do this, is some people will come into a reading and they have a problem or a situation at hand that they're dealing with. And they're like, I need some help with this. I need a reading, but I don't know what I need to know, right? Because when you come into a reading, usually I'm kind of like, well, what questions do you have for the tarot? How can I help you, right? And so sometimes people just say, well, I have the story, I don't know where to go, but I'm really stressed out, or I need help, I need information. So that's when it becomes your job as the reader to really take what they've given you, fine tune it, and figure out what they need to know. Now, I don't like to particularly just choose and say, we're going this way. What I do is I say, okay, well, there's a bunch of different questions and different ways that we can go in this scenario. And usually that's what happens. I'm rolling down all these, okay, well, here's things that I would ask if it were important to me, or here's things that are kind of coming up just intuitively that I feel like might be important to ask the tarot cards. So I'll give you a list of different things and say, hey, which direction do you want to go? Which feels the most important to you? Now, sometimes they'll pick something out of that list, and sometimes they will, from that list, be able to really figure out, oh, okay, actually, this is what I want to know. And they'll give me something completely different, and that's okay too. Sometimes they'll pick 3 things out of the list. It's your reading, you're driving, I'll do whatever you want. So that's how that can be helpful if you have a situation like that. I won't be able to necessarily do that for you as well if you kind of sit there and don't say anything to me, right? So that's a situation where that could be really helpful and beneficial to you. Now, sometimes too, where this can be challenging, sometimes people try to say too much information. They give you an information dump and it's excessive and it leaves me no time to do the reading because you are talking, which might be okay for you too. I've had readings where sometimes people just needed somebody to talk to and hold space, and if you need that, I'm here for it, totally. Because not everyone has that kind of person in their lives, and that's a difficult spot to be in. But at the same time too, sometimes when you have too much information, what I see happening is it's kind of hard for me to kind of pinpoint what you really need the most. And so that's where I really have to kind of dig in deep. Sometimes also when people are giving you information, the part where this gets tricky is that they like to argue with you a little bit, because the cards are going to tell you what you need to know, not necessarily what you want to hear. And sometimes that's a really bumpy part of the reading, when you get a little tough love from the cards. So sometimes when people will be telling me the story, they'll kind of argue with me a little bit about it, or they'll try to explain again, well, no, this is what's happening. And they're just not in a place where they're ready to see what's going on. So that's a situation that can be a little bit tricky, but you have the opposite in the card where somebody's not reading something, where somebody's not saying something. You just give them the information and then they can interpret it however they want. They can think that you're right on. They can think that you're a flaky, whatever. And it's up to them. But the information is the information. Their opinion of the information does not change the information. So those are some kind of like plus and minus points, I think, where for you to consider whether you're going into a reading or, whether you're doing a reading too. For the tarot readers out there, I have people that come in and they're like, well, how much do you need to know, right? The client will come in and say, well, how much should I tell you? Or how much do you need to know? And my response is always, well, that's up to you, right? You can tell me everything. You can tell me nothing. But if you do give me a little bit of information, what happens is it actually does really help me to see what's going on in the cards. So if I have a little bit of a backstory, when I see the information come up in the cards, I can tie it more distinctly and clearly to what's happening. And because I understand the situation, instead of just getting a blop of a random piece of information, I can give you more, right? I can give you more details. I can connect the dots a little bit better. I can help you paint a clearer picture than just if I give you different energies of, okay, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing this. This is the story I'm getting. I can't give you additional information if someone is silent, because I don't know how to attach it to anything, or how to kind of connect the dots in a way where you can it's almost like an overlay, right? Like you have the situation, you have what I'm getting, and you can kind of overlay them over the top of each other to get just this clearer picture of things, right? You get what you know versus what you don't know, and how that relates to it. So, it really is up to you. So I hope that you have found this information helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. Or if you'd like to share an experience, let me know too. I always love to hear what's going on with people. And I think it's really interesting. So until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and have an absolutely beautiful day. So that's all I have for you guys on that. I hope that it was helpful. It brings a little more clarity to this situation on both sides of the fence, whether you are getting a reading or whether you are the tarot reader yourself. If you have an experience you'd like to share, please drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. But if not, that's it, and thank you. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope that was helpful, whether you are sitting in the client chair or in the tarot. So that's all the information that I have for you today. I hope that was helpful, whether you are coming from a client perspective or from the perspective of being a tarot reader in one of these situations. So if you'd like to share an experience with me, I would love to hear about it. Just drop it down in the comments below. But until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful day.